Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. I want to talk about this new book I received today in the mail. It's called The Muslim Guide for Understanding Structural Racism and Its Impact on Black America. Uh, the book is by two authors. One is one of my guests I had invited on here already, which is Hakeem Mohammed Esquire, the attorney. It is who is a trial attorney who focused on protecting the human rights of African American within the inner city. And the second author of the book is Sharif Muhammad, is a professor of history in Atlanta, Georgia. He has taught at Atlanta Metropolitan College, George State University, and I believe is Greenwich Technical College. So looking at it, the book is about 400 pages, 500 pages. You could buy the book on Amazon. We're going to take a good look at the content of the book. So, in this particular book, The Muslim Guide for Understanding Structural Racism and Its Impact on Black America, the Muslim Guide is for Understanding Structural Racism and Its Impact on Black America emphasize the importance of revising the legacy of Malcolm X in the fight against racism. The book highlights the various ways the systemic racism functions in the political system, the criminal legal system, educational system, economic system, housing opportunities, and healthcare system. The book presents the African American Muslim case in favor of critical race theory and proposes solutions for Muslims to combat against the effects of structural racism on the African American community. So I was reading from the back of the book. There's more, right? So I was looking at the content, the tables of content of the book, because here at Black American Muslim Opinions, we support Dawa to the Black African American Muslim or non-Muslim community. And here at my channel, Black American Muslim Opinions, we talk about Black social issues with a Islamic solution, right? So this particular book, it does cover a lot of things that we need to know as Americans or Black Americans. So this particular book is addressing the U.S. legal system, right? So the introduction, you have chapter 1, which is African American Muslim case against systemic racism and law enforcement, right? And they have many sections in this chapter. The second chapter talks about the African American Muslim case against structural racism in the criminal legal system. And chapter 3 is the African American Muslim case against racism and opportunities for economic mobility. Chapter 4 is the African American Muslim case against racism and access to educational opportunities, which each chapter has a numbers of sections. Chapter 5, the African American Muslim case against structural racism and housing opportunities, right? In chapter 6, the African American case against structural racism in the healthcare system. In chapter 7, African American Muslim case for critical race theory. In chapter 8, preparing for victory through re-education and taking action, right? So the book talks about many subjects within each chapter. For example, chapter 1, which is talk about structural racism in law enforcement, it talks about police shooting African Americans as a manifestation of structural racism, systemic racism and traffic stops of African Americans, the impact of police killing on the mental health of Black America, systemic racism in policy, perjury against African Americans, and wrongful convictions. No, that's very common. Racism in the application of police technology against African Americans, anti-black bigotry and social media posting of the police officers, debunking common talking points to delegitimize African American political dissents against police brutality. Right. So it's a heavy book. I personally will use this book for some of my talking points. And here at Black American Muslim Opinion, I have been working on talking about some of the social issues of African Americans coming from an Islamic solution. So I definitely will reference this book and use it, inshallah, especially when it comes to structural racism from the legal system and police, right? Structural racism from the legal system and the police. This particular book, I believe that the more of our people, especially in the Black American Muslim community, come together and work on projects and do things like this is very important. And this is why these type of books and materials are important. White supremacy tactics change. For example, when you listen to people like Malcolm X, Martin Luther King Jr., people from the Black movements like the Black Panther Party, when you listen to them debating or talking or addressing white supremacy and how it affects people, when you listen from some political talking points, some of the things that people like Black Americans did in the past, some of the tactics that white supremacists were using then, they changed up their tactics from today. All right, their tactics today are not the same tactics that they were using in the past. Right? Sometimes they change up their tactics. One of the mediums we see how white supremacists change up their tactics, right, from the past to today, is that you'll find, for example, with the Democrats, in many Democrat states where police are doing also these crimes against the Black people, you find that a lot of the politicians are Black themselves. A lot of the politicians, the local politicians, they're Black themselves, right? So there's different tactics. The way they was fighting then is not the same tactics they're using today. They have different mediums to fight against Black Americans. So books like this, right? Books like this, which I believe is fresh off the press. I like to rap. Fresh off the press, are useful tools, especially from somebody who's a professor in a college, who are the two authors, and a lawyer, right? And the lawyer, and those who are, and that person who is the individual, I'm looking at him, Sharif Muhammad, who's a professor in a university, on a university level. So this type of material is useful because the tactics from maybe back in the 60s, 50s, and 60s, many of us who read material and listen to documentaries who talk about how the civil rights movement went, certain ways and methods that people in the civil rights and Black movement used. Today, the white man know all of those tactics, and the white man himself has changed up his tactics against Black people, right? And due to the creation of cell phones and cameras on cell phones, have also proved a lot of Blacks' complaints about the system, in particular police, have also shown us that the racism still exists from the legal system, from police, right? But we also see when the cameras came right? They also use for the cameras, cell phone cameras. They changed up their tactics. Police, right? They changed up their tactics, right? When the people was discovering, hey man, look, you violating people rights. So police found other ways, other tactics to do their dirt against black people. So books like this are very important. Um, just like technology change, right? A good 40 years ago in America, there was no cell phone or computer in your hand. Look at today, they got computers in your hand. Even back in the 90s, they didn't have computers in your hands. Today, we have many computers in our hands, right? So as technology change, sure will people tactics change, right? And for sure the legal system tactic has changed. So books like this is very important, right? Books like this are very important on how to deal with certain situations. All right, I'm just looking at a certain section right here, a racist application of the three strike laws, right? That's something very important to know. That's definitely hanging over many heads of many blacks today, right? I know, over the head of many black people, especially when it comes to issues like people who have felonies, the blacks who have felonies. You know, the white man system has created that if you have a felony, they will bar you out of many type of financial opportunities, work opportunities, educational opportunities, housing opportunities, even when the crime or that you committed was 10 to 20 years ago, right? And they will also bar you out of legal opportunities, right? You know, some type of jobs you cannot have, some type of legal jobs you cannot have. You can't be a lawyer, for example, if you have a felony, right? Can't practice law, can't get a law license. You can't what? You can't have the right to bear arms if you have a felony, right? So when the white man in his structural racist system that was designed to um, keep blacks from doing certain things, it was designed for a reason, right? It was designed for a reason. So it's very important to have material like this and to be familiarized with their tactics and understand what's going on and what to do and how to do it, right? I'm gonna keep this video very short. Maybe later on, another time, I would definitely read something from this book, from the section of the book, or would definitely take my time to read it and to study and to use it along with other material and talking about black social issues. And it also would give me a framework from reading it to a framework on how to talk about bringing Islamic solution to black social issues, right? I could definitely use this as a reference or even look at its what type base some of my framework on some of the materials in here in particular, right? This is definitely very, very important. I'm still looking and I'm partially blind without my glasses trying to read. Right here, like I'm reading the section on the role of gentrification and police violence. Right, I'm reading this section, systemic racism in the police department throughout America is epidemic of the prosperative attitudes that African Americans are the deserving underclass that must be maintained. The need to uphold racial hierarchy expressly evidence in the class is why law enforcement militates against both integration and black economic self-reliance. Gentrification is really thought of in this context. It's not really thought of in this context, but is a violence. It is a violent process. It works against the social, cultural, and economic interests of African Americans in urban areas through displacement and enriched police and enforcers of racial spaces. Right? I was looking at this. He said whether it be in a common room in Yale or Chicago Avenue in Minneapolis, The police has enforced the de facto racial boundaries at the request of the concerned white citizens. Gentrification is the process whereby the character of a poor urban area is changed by wealthier people moving in, improving housing, and attracting new business, typically displacing current inhabitants in the process. And this is from redlining black people into moving them out of the place that was designated for black folks through redlining. And once they did that, then now gentrification. White man want to take the places that he spaced out just for black peoples to live, put them into certain conditions in that place, lack of resources, right? Lack of financial resources, right? Lack of healthy food, lack of education in these areas. Then after years pass by, they want to go back and take these communities over again, right? But I'm here, I want to read something that caught my eye. He said, this has always entailed racial displacement of colonization. Harlem, Brooklyn, and countless other historical black communities throughout the country have succumbed to this form of a soft racism. These black residents are describing the impact of gentrification. Sorry, I don't got my glasses on. I really can't see. In some measures, Floyd's, meaning George Floyd's murder was equally a consequence of gentrification, and the police do, in fact, play a role in the process. This is what I wanted to read, right? It caught my eye, even though I can't see well without my glasses. It did catch my eye. I was just looking through the book, right? There is evidence that suggests that the police arrests are a method used by municipalities to clear a neighborhood of its black residents, right? The Breonna Taylor murder has sparked a lawsuit showing that the raid of Taylor's home was part of an attempt by the city to get rid of the black residents who were an obstacle to the city's vision Russell redevelopment, right? So I'm just reading some of that. You know, I gotta read the whole book now, right? Now you know I gotta read the book. See? Now you know I gotta read the book. Now you know I gotta read the book. Islam Truth, keep to the topic. Amriki is a laqab, yani, my companion. It's a laqab, Islam Truth, you know. Keep to the topic, you know. So when you hear this laqab, Amriki, it's a laqab, which means that it's where I'm from, your nationality. So anybody with this name Amriki, it means that he's American. So it's going to be a very common name for anybody who's Muslim from America and knows something about Arabic. You're going to put these type of names on his last name, or part of his name, not his last name, but part of his name, especially if he has a common name that everybody has. So to identify himself from the other person. So just so you don't ask anybody that question anymore, because you ask the wrong person that question is going to show the lack of Arabic language that Muslims need to know, you lack in it, basically. So you shouldn't ask nobody that question no more. When you hear this word Amriki, that's a person's country, right? American. If you hear somebody name Yani Misri, means Egyptian, right? Things like this, you know. So you don't ask these type of questions when you hear somebody say Amriki. It means I'm from America. So I'm gonna end this particular book on this, or this particular video on this book. I just received the book today. I was just looking through it, and it definitely catching my eyes, but I need to really put my glasses on. You can even see my eyes like this, trying to see the pages. Very, very important. I see another section I like. Black men and false rape accusation by white women. And for sure, in this section, he talks about Emmett Till, which I gotta read. Talks about the Central Park Five, who was some of them were actually Muslim, right? Here in New York, where I'm from. Um, and some other cases. I definitely want to read this particular book. False allegation of white women. That's why I leave them alone. I leave white women alone, man. I leave them alone, man. I leave me personally. I leave white women alone, man. I know how many black people got killed. Black men and black women got killed behind of white women's false allegation and lies. Not just rape only, but false lies on black people out of jealousy, hatred, and racism. Man, something else caught my eye again, just skimming through the book. What section is this? Something catch my eye again. Racist application of RICO law. The RICO Act was originally passed by the purported intent of fighting the Italian mafia and allowed to enhance prison sentence for prosecution when it was proved those crimes were related to a enterprise. It also goes to strategies for prosecutors to have individuals subject to life sentences, which would not be feasible if their alleged offense were done as individuals or not related to an actual criminal enterprise. Out of the book, reading from thinking about another topic, same topic in another book on white collar and blue collar crimes, right? How that affect the black community, white collars and blue collar crimes, especially when it comes to sentencing. You know how I'm just putting everything together and looking at this book. Very important. I like this book already. I can't even close it right now. I'm trying to even end the video, but every time I pass a page, there's something on it that is something that we definitely, as black folks, have to deal with, and it's good to even talk about it. The RICO laws, right? Oh man, something else catch my eye. I gotta go, man. Oh man. Oh man. Oh man. Talk about the hoods now. The hoods. Structural racism in the ghettos. Oh man, that's another big subject right there. That's a subject I'm just looking into the book. Man, if you want to buy this book, right, you can find it on Amazon. The book is on Amazon. If you look in the description of the video, you can definitely find the link for the book in the description of the video. If the link is not working properly, which happens sometimes, inshallah, it's working. All you need to do is go to Amazon and type the Muslim Guide for Understanding Structural Racism and Its Impact on Black America. You can just go to Amazon, type that, which is also in the description and in the title of the video, and you could find this book. But the link to purchase the book is definitely in the description. And I want to support our brothers, Hakeem Muhammad Esquire and the brother Sharif Muhammad, who's also have a website, which is Black Dawah Network. Black Dawah Network, right? .com. Black Dawah Network.com. I hope you can see it. I do freaking the website a lot. And I will actually add the website to the description of this video later on. So anybody have any questions, definitely leave a comment in the video. And then I see you guys later.